kids. Here we are at home, just like you guys. Since we can't be at church for a little while, we thought we'd bring some church to you for kids' church tonight.
Yeah, and we're super excited that you're watching this because we've been at home too. And we figured we need to make a video for you because if you're home a lot and your parents are home a lot, that can be kind of crazy. I know, parents can be exhausting, can't they?
Yeah, and we miss you guys, and we thought this would be a great way we can talk about our announcements that are coming up and the lesson that we have, a midweek lesson, and we're going to talk about the lesson that came out on Sunday if you had a chance to do that with your families.
Absolutely, yeah, do that lesson with your family, and it's just like church, only completely different.
Yeah, so every Sunday you'll get sent a lesson that you can do together with your family. Last week it was the healing of the paralytic man. It was awesome. Jesus not only healed the man, but showed his authority to forgive sins, which was a really cool lesson. So if you didn't get that, do that this week.
And how do we do that? We sign up?
Yep. So the happenings will come out. I'll have a link on the happenings where you can sign up to get
That's the
our
email newsletter.
Yeah, weekly lessons.
Yeah.
All right. We do have an announcement, though. Super, super important.
What?
VBS.
Of course.
Yes. So sign up. Tell your parents, sign up today. They are opening up today. Heavens declare the glory of God is our theme, which means we're going to be...
Aquanauts?
No.
Oh.
We're going to be in space. And
Space theme.
it's super cool. We're going to be talking all about things that have to do with our faith. Reasons for our faith. Why do we believe in God? Why can we trust the Bible?
Rockets.
What are some evidence that we have for the things that we believe? So,
asteroids.
yeah, you're not going to want to miss it.
It'll be cool. But sign up early because it always fills up because we can't accommodate everyone. We really wish we could fit 1,000 kids in there because I think we have 1,000 that want to go.
Yeah. So in the lesson on Sunday, you may have seen your memory verse. And so, Mr. Greg, I think
Yes.
here you are.
I brought my guitar just so you'd recognize me.
Ready for a memory verse for the 3 to 5-year-olds and kindergartners. We have a verse.
We have a verse and we have a song to go with the verse. 3 to 5-year-olds.
Sweet. Now that I'm going to be remembering it.
Okay, this is how you can remember this verse.
Okay.
It goes like this. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. I'm really glad that he's the king. Sometimes I'm not the bravest thing. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. Need I remind you,
Zephaniah?
3:17. Zephaniah. So let's do it one more time,
Okay.
because I didn't do a great job that time.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. The Lord your God is with you, mighty warrior who saves. I'm really glad that he's the king. Sometimes I'm not the bravest thing. The Lord your God is with you, mighty warrior who saves. Should I remind you, Zephaniah 3:17. Zephaniah 3:17.
3:17. Got it.
Okay, so remember that, rewind it, and listen to the song as a way to remember it. And next time you see me at church, I want to hear you sing the song.
All right. Now, your 1st through 5th graders, I bet you're thinking, that's not our verse. It's because you guys have a different one this month. So, your verse comes from the book of John, John 8:12.
Do you have a little song for us?
I don't have a song.
That's okay.
That's okay. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.
John 8:12.
John 8:12. All right, so practice those, and we'll review them again next time.
Yes, absolutely. In our next video to you. Is that everything we had to talk about?
No, we have a lesson.
Oh, right, the lesson.
Yeah, so not only are we going to send out Sunday lessons, we thought it'd be really cool to do something a little different with this video, to share with you a resource that we have so you can do a midweek lesson as well. So we love the Bible Project, and if you've been with us at VBS, we have used those to show you guys some really cool animations, animated videos to teach biblical truth. So tonight I have one for you that I'm super excited about. We're going to do some themes for our midweek lesson, and tonight we're going to be talking about the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is a really, really awesome theme that flows throughout the entire Bible. And we have a video from the Bible Project, so stay tuned for that. But first I want you guys to have a question to talk about with your family. So we're going to have you push pause after I ask you the question, and then we'll have a verse to read, we'll watch the video, and then we'll have a couple other questions at the end.
Cool.
All right, so our first question, what is the kingdom of God?
Before they watch the
Before the video, I want you to try to think, like, what do you think of when you hear that phrase, kingdom of God?
What is the kingdom of God?
What is the kingdom of God?
Okay.
All right, so pause the video and see if you can have an answer to that question.
Cool. We'll be back in a minute. And we're back.
All right. Well, when we think of the kingdom of God, we usually probably think of the word king because it has to do with kingdom. And you're absolutely right. If you said it has something to do with king, Jesus as our king. Now, I know you guys right now probably have heard a lot of bad news in the news, probably things about sickness, things getting canceled, all that kind of stuff.
Lots of things getting canceled.
Yeah, and it's bad news, and it can bring us down. Well, the Israelites knew something about bad news. They had just had their city destroyed. Jerusalem had just been destroyed. And the prophet Isaiah had something really cool to say to them. If we read in Isaiah 52:7, could you read that for us, Mr. Greg?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Isaiah 52:7. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, your God reigns.
That's right. Now, beautiful feet. Have you ever heard of feet as beautiful?
No, a lot of people don't have beautiful feet. At least, I'm assuming so.
Right. I'm sure yours are.
Mine are,
really,
but
really
not everyone's.
Nice. But in Isaiah, he's talking about beautiful feet. And so in our video today, we're going to see what does he mean by beautiful feet, and how our feet can also be beautiful, like the feet that we see in Isaiah, and hint the feet that we see in the New Testament, in the Gospels, and then how we can be the beautiful feet going out into the world.
Cool.
So let's watch the video.
Okay.
There's this really interesting poem in the book of Isaiah that talks about beautiful feet. So Jerusalem, the spiritual homeland of the Jewish people, has been destroyed by a powerful empire called Babylon. Most of the people were sent away from their homeland as captives. Some of the poor people were left in the city to care for the land. And everyone is wondering, what in the world just happened?
Wasn't Jerusalem supposed to be the city where God would rule and bring peace and blessing to the world?
That's why the people were so confused. They felt like God had abandoned them.
Yeah, I mean, everything is destroyed.
The prophet Isaiah had been telling everyone that living corrupt lives and turning away from God would lead to this very thing.
Isaiah's warnings came true.
But the poem isn't over. It goes on to say that there's a watchman on the city walls who spots a messenger far out in the hills. The messenger is running toward the city, shouting, "Good news! Good news!" That's when Isaiah says how beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news.
What exactly does that mean?
The feet are beautiful because they are carrying a beautiful message.
What's the message?
That even though Jerusalem had been destroyed, God still reigns as king, and he will come back to the city one day, sit on his throne, and bring peace.
So the watchmen sing for joy because of the good news that God is still king.
Right. Now jump over to the New Testament. We see the same phrase, good news, which is the Greek word evangelion. You might hear it with the word gospel.
So when Christians say, do you believe the gospel? They mean, do you believe the news?
Not just any news. In the Bible, this phrase is always about announcing the reign of a new king.
King Jesus.
Right. And in the New Testament, this phrase is used to summarize all of Jesus' teachings. They say he went about spreading the good news of God's kingdom.
So, Jesus saw himself as the messenger bringing the good news.
But the way Jesus described God's reign was very different from what people were expecting.
What were they expecting?
When you think of the successful kingdom, what do you think of?
Strength, power, a kingdom that can destroy its enemies.
But Jesus said the greatest in God's kingdom was the weakest.
The greatest is the weakest? That doesn't make sense.
It does when you understand what God values. Jesus said the greatest is the one who loves and serves the poor. That living under God's rule means loving your enemies, forgiving them, and seeking peace.
Which is really different from the ways we act sometimes.
God's kingdom is an upside-down kingdom because it operates by a completely different set of values.
Upside down kingdom. I like that.
There's this really interesting story about a Roman officer who begs Jesus to heal someone in his house. He even bows down and calls Jesus his Lord.
A powerful Roman officer bowing to Jesus.
And here's what's interesting. Jesus acknowledges what this man recognized, something that no one else did. That not only was Jesus announcing God's kingdom, he was the king. Jesus appointed 12 disciples.
Which are an image of Israel's 12 tribes.
Jesus went around healing people and forgiving them of their sins. And the religious leaders of Israel were so upset by everything Jesus was doing that they decided to stop him.
By having him killed.
And here's the thing, Jesus let them.
Hold on, he let them? I mean, that's a weird thing to do if you're trying to become king.
For Jesus, this is what had to happen. Jesus' death on the cross.
Which is why the Gospels describe Jesus' death as his way of becoming the true king of the Jews.
He gets a crown, a robe. He's lifted up, not onto a throne, but onto a cross. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news. And the good news now is that Jesus has defeated death. He is alive and he is the true king.
He conquered our sin through his life, his death, and his love.
Jesus sends out his followers to keep announcing the good news of the upside-down kingdom.
And to invite everyone to accept Jesus as their king.
The true king who defeated death with his love.
So when people talk about believing the gospel, they mean the good news that Jesus is king.
That's right. And the reason this is good news is because Jesus is such a good, loving, and just king. And he invites everyone to be part of his upside-down kingdom by following God's ways.
We call it the upside down kingdom because God's values are completely different from the world's.
Right, like when Jesus says, love others, even your enemies.
Jesus said the greatest in his kingdom is not the one with the most power, money, popularity.
He said the greatest is the one who acts like a servant, the one who loves and helps others in need.
This is a completely different way to live.
Being committed to Jesus means learning from him and actually doing what he teaches.
When we follow Jesus, we are acting as true citizens for God's kingdom.
Okay, we're back.
Wasn't that a great video?
It was amazing.
I love the feet. The beautiful feet at the beginning. The prophet Isaiah talks about these beautiful feet that bring the good news.
So it's not really about pretty feet.
No. Sadly not. It is about the feet that bring the good news. And you probably saw Jesus' feet in there too, because he is the one that the gospel news is about. The good news that he is here, he is king, and he reigns.
Right.
So when we talk about the gospel of the kingdom, we have to think, what does God's kingdom look like?
Yeah.
We saw in there some hints of what that kingdom might look like. But if we look in the New Testament, there's a verse that Jesus himself told us about what this new kingdom would look like. Like in the video where it said upside down kingdom. Well, what do we mean by that?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, verse 1 through 16. You want to read that for us, Mr. Craig?
I do. One day, as he saw the crowds gathering, Jesus went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples gathered around him, and he began to teach them. So these are the Beatitudes. God blesses those who are poor and realize their need for him, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. God blesses those who are humble, for they will inherit the whole earth. God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers. Be happy about it. Be very glad, for a great reward awaits you in heaven. And remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way.
Yeah, so as you can see, by upside down, it means that we respond differently than the rest of the world because we have a different king.
Everything is different than the world would do it.
Yeah. So in these times, sometimes when there's difficult times, dark times, people might react with, in times of confusion.
Right. All ways that Jesus wouldn't want us to react, right?
Right.
When it's confusing, people get in a panic, and Jesus doesn't want that for us.
Right. Instead, he wants us to have the peace that he brought.
Mm-hmm.
And then in times of difficulty.
No, people get angry.
Mm-hmm.
They get fearful.
Exactly. But instead, he wants us to respond with love, kindness, gentleness. And then in times of need, which we've all seen everyone needing toilet paper.
They go buy all the toilet paper.
Right. Yeah.
So what is that? That's selfishness.
Yeah, they want to take everything for themselves, but instead,
because we're afraid. We're afraid we're not going to have enough for us.
yeah, Jesus said we need to respond with generosity. Yeah.
And
totally
times,
upside down kingdom, right?
Upside down.
And then in times of uncertainty, which certainly is what it is now, right? So we don't even know when we're going to go to school again, when we're going to go to church again. So there is uncertainty.
Right. We're afraid. We're sad. It can be despairing. You just start to feel really just like nothing is ever going to be good again.
Yeah. But the good news of Jesus is that he gave us a hope for eternity, that by him coming and him dying and then him rising again, we have a hope in him because he's going to make all things right. He started it and he's going to finish it. Right. And we're going to get to live with him forever for all of eternity when he makes all things right again.
Right.
And so that's the upside down kingdom, that the ways that we can respond differently than the rest of the world.
Because we're not looking at all the things that are going on. We're looking at him and his kingdom.
Exactly.
And his perspective, and he sees everything differently.
Yeah. So I have a couple discussion questions for you guys to do together.
Homework?
All right, nope, just two. Yep. So I'll ask you the questions, and you go ahead and push pause and talk about them with your family, and then we'll come back and we just want to have we'll close then.
Okay.
Okay. So our first question, why is the good news of the kingdom still good news for us today? All right, so press pause and think about that. Okay. Question number 2.
Did you talk about it?
Oh.
Did you come up with a good answer?
Yeah. I hope you had a good discussion. All right. Good question number 2.
Okay.
How can you share the good news with those that might not know it?
Which is a lot of people.
Yeah. And they especially might need it right now. Okay.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Join us again on Sunday. Look for in your email, look for the lesson that comes out that will follow the lessons like we've been doing every Sunday up until now. We'll continue on after the lesson of the paralytic man.
Awesome. And sign up if you haven't signed up for these. You can get that on the website.
Yes. And then join us next week for another video. We'll send this out every Wednesday for a midweek video lesson with the Bible Project and us.
It's like TV and church.
Until we see you sometime again.
Okay. Have a good one.